Captain Tom Miller stood tall adjusting his freshly pressed uniform as he and his crew waited in the massive docking bay of Starbase Alpha. This was a historic moment. The first time humans would receive an official ship from the Galactic Council. Since Earth joined the interstellar community just 3 years ago, do you think it will have quantum drives? Asked Jack, the young navigation officer who couldn't stop bouncing on his heels. I heard it might be a Trellix-class cruiser, said Maria, the weapons specialist. Those things can outrun light. Itself, Tom smiled at his crew's excitement. They had all been hand-picked, the best Earth had to offer after years of proving themselves in smaller roles aboard alien vessels. They would finally have their own command, whatever it is. Tom said, "We make humanity proud." The massive doors at the far end of the hangar SLL open, with a deep mechanical groan. A delegation of aliens entered, led by Ambassador Brix of the Laren species. Brix was tall and thin with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer under the hangar. Lights like all lands, he had 3 pairs of eyes arranged vertically on his face, and all 6 were currently looking down at the humans with barely hidden smugness. Captain Miller Brick, said his translator, making his words sound unnaturally flat. The Galactic Council welcomes you. We are pleased to present Earth with its first official vessel. Tom noticed the pause, but kept his face neutral behind the delegation. A large sheet covered something. Whatever was underneath seemed oddly shaped, not the sleek lines of a modern vessel. On behalf of humanity, we're honored to accept. Tom replied formally. Brix made a gesture, and the sheet was pulled away. The humans' excited murmurs died instantly before them sat what could only be described as junk. The ship was an old transport vessel, its hull patched in dozens of places with mismatched metal. One of its 4 engine pods was visibly cracked, the name painted on its side. Discarded hope was faded. And peeling this as Tom started, then caught himself. This is our ship indeed, said Brix, all 6 eyes linking. In sequence, the discarded hope has served the Galactic Coalition. Over 70 years. It was due to be decommissioned, but we thought it would make a perfect learning opportunity for your species. Jack's face had fallen. Maria's hand was on her sidearm, though Tom doubted. She even realized it a reflexive response to insult. It's barely spaceworthy, said Mike, the chief engineer, speaking what everyone was thinking. His practice eye was already cataloging the countless fixes. The ship would need. The life support systems look ancient. They are functional. Bricks, replied mostly another alien from the delegation, a squat 4-armed being named Gorks, chuckled. Perhaps humans aren't ready for interstellar travel after all. If this simple vessel is too challenging, we accept with gratitude. Tom interrupted, his voice firm. The crew looked at him with surprise, but he gave them a subtle hand signal. Trust me. Brix seemed disappointed by the lack of protest. Very well, the ship is yours. The Council has provided basic supplies and a manual for the more unusual systems. You have 1 Earth month to make it operational and begin your assigned patrols. 1 month, Mike whispered. We'd need 3. Just to 1 month will be perfect, Tom said. Lely, we look forward to showing what humans can do with this fine vessel. The delegation departed, several of them failing to hide their amusement. As soon as the doors closed, the crew erupted. Captain, this is an insult, Maria said. They've given us garbage. We should go to the human ambassador, suggested Wren, the communications specialist. File a formal complaint. Tom walked up to the ship and placed his hand on the cold, pitted HLE. No, he said quietly. That's exactly what they expect, Sir. Jack asked. Tom turned to face his crew, and his eyes burned a fierce determination that made even Maria step back. They think we'll complain. They think we'll beg for something better or give up entirely. That's what they want, proof that humans don't belong out here. He began walking around the ship, examining it more closely. Look at this hull, cerulean metal, older, yes, but nearly impossible to scan through with standard sensors. And these engine mounts, he pointed to what looked like damage. They're modified Vulcan thrusters, primitive by their standards, but incredibly reliable. Mike stepped forward, his engineer's curiosity overtaking his disappointment. The power core looks intact, actually old design. But if I'm not mistaken, it's one of the Marathon on course, not fast to charge, but nearly unlimited endurance. Tom smiled. Exactly. They didn't give us a fancy ship. They gave us a foundation. But Sir Maria protested. Even if we get it running, we'll be laughed at everywhere we go. Good, Tom replied. Let them laugh, let them underestimate us. Throughout human history, our greatest achievements have come when others thought we would fail. He gathered his crew in a circle, their faces still showing doubt, but now mixed with curiosity. They gave us scrap because they don't respect us, but they've Forgotten something important about humans. We've always been at our best. When working with scrap, we built our first planes from bicycle parts, our first satellites from leftover war technology. Tom's voice grew stronger. And one by one his crew stood straighter. We won't just make this ship functional, we'll make it ours, we'll make it human. And one day the Galactic Council will look at what we've done with their cast-offs and wonder what they've unleashed. Jack was the first to grin, so where do we start? Captain Tom turned to the ship, his eyes gleaming with purpose. Might get a team and start assessing that power core. Maria, I want you to think about defensive options, creative ones. Ren, download everything you can about this model, official and unofficial. Jack, help me plot out the internal spaces. I want to see what we're working with as the crew dispersed to their tasks. Tom stood a moment longer looking at the battered vessel. The name Discarded Hope seemed to mock them. We should rename her, he murmured to himself. Something fitting, he thought of the old naval traditions. From Earth's history of ships beating the odds of underdogs rising to greatness, Phoenix. He decided from Earth mythology, the bird that rises from ashes. He placed his hand again on the hull, feeling the cold metal. Imagining what it could become, they gave a scrap, he whispered. We'll show them what humans can build from ashes. Behind him, his crew was already at work, the sound of tools and voices filling the hangar with purpose. The first step of their journey had begun. And despite everything, Tom felt a surge of excitement. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. 3 days after receiving the Discarded Hope, the hangar bay looked like a war zone. Ship parts were scattered everywhere, panels removed from walls, and the constant sound of welding and hammering filled the air. In the middle of it all stood Mike, covered in grease up to his elbows, staring at the ship's power core with a mixture of frustration and amazement. Captain, you need to see this, he called out as Tom walked by with a tablet full of reports. Tom ducked under a hanging cable and joined his chief engineer. What am I looking at, Mike? Mike pointed to the cylindrical power core that took up a large part of the engine room. This isn't junk, this is a Hellion 5 core. They stopped making these 30 years ago. But not because they were bad then. Why, because they're too good. Mike wiped his hands on a rag. These cores are nearly indestructible. They can run for decades without maintenance. But they have one problem, they're inefficient by modern standards. Tom raised an eyebrow. How inefficient? They use about 30% more fuel than newer models, so the big companies stow making them to sell their fancy new cores that need replacing every 5 years. Mike grinned, but if someone were to fix the efficiency problem, could you do it? Tom asked. Mike tapped the core with his knuckle. Already started. I'm reconfiguring the power distribution system with some human ingenuity. I think we can make this old core run better than anything in the Council's fleet. Tom clapped him on the shoulder. That's what I like to hear. On the other side of the ship, Maria had turned the cargo bay into a makeshift workshop. She was examining what looked like a large cargo door. What's all this? Tom asked, stepping around various tools and parts. Maria looked up from her work. Their idea of a shield generator was pathetic. So I'm making the new one out of cargo doors. These aren't ordinary doors, Captain. They're made of tri-steel with reflective coating. The aliens used them for radiation protection during long hauls. But with some modifications, she flipped a switch, and the door panel began to hum with energy. They can deflect energy weapons too. Tom watched as she fired a small test laser of the panel. The beam bounced off harmlessly. It won't stop a direct hit from a military vessel, Maria admitted, but it'll give us some protection, and the best part, our shield signature will read as cargo bay doors on most scans. Tom smiled, hiding in plain sight. I like it. In what would become the bridge, Jack and Ren were installing old-style manual control systems alongside the ship's original computer interfaces. Why are you adding physical controls? Tom asked. Art neural interfaces. Faster. Jack looked up from under the console. Faster, yes, but also easier to hack or disrupt. These physical controls are from Earth's old space programs, simple, reliable, and completely unfamiliar to most alien tech experts. Ren added, we're also installing a backup navigation system based on star tracking like ancient sailors used. If all our fancy tech fails, we can still find our way home day by day. The ship transformed. What had started as an insult was becoming something unique, neither human nor alien, but a hybrid that combined the best of both worlds. On the 10th day, Ambassador Brix returned with several council observers. They walked through the ship with poorly concealed disdain. You've made changes, Brix noted, watching a crew member install what looked like an Earth kitchen appliance into a control panel. Improvements Tom corrected were adapting the ship to our needs. One of the observers, a tall insectoid, being chittered something that the translator rendered as, "Are those physical buttons how primitive Mike," who was passing by with the toolbox smill politely sometimes primitive. Is reliable and reliability matters when you're floating in space brick. Stopped at what had once been a storage closet now. It contained plants, actual earth plants, growing in containers. "What is this?" he asked, all 6 eyes blinking rapidly. "Supplemental life support," answered Dr. Lee. "The ship's medical officer. These plants clean our air and provide fresh food. They also help with crew morale. Plants on a starship." Another observer. "Left inefficient and unnecessary, Doctor." Lee just smiled. "We find them quite necessary." As the tour continued, Grix became increasingly agitated. "Captain Miller, these modifications may violate Council regulations. That power core configuration has not been approved. Those shield emplacements are not standard. This, whatever this is," as he pointed to a device cobbled together from spare parts. "Water recycler," Tom explained. "98% efficiency. The point is," Brix continued, "the Council expected you to learn how to operate a standard vessel, not rebuild it according to human whims." Tom stopped walking and faced the ambassador directly. "With all respect, Ambassador, you gave us a decommissioned vessel that barely functioned. We're making it work." "Isn't that the point? The point was to see if humans could adapt to galactic standards," Brix replied coldly. "And we are adapting them to work better." Tom gestured around. "Everything we've done improves this ship's functionality while maintaining compatibility with Council systems." The delegation left shortly after, clearly unhappy with what they'd seen as the HQ doors closed behind them. The crew gathered around Tom. "They're going to try to stop us, aren't they?" Maria asked. Tom nodded. "They'll probably add more inspections and requirements. But we'll keep working. We've only got 20 more days until our deadline," Mike reminded him. "Then we work faster," Tom replied. "Double shifts. I want this ship ready to fly in 15 days, not 30, as the crew dispersed to their tasks with renewed purpose. Tom walked to the front of the ship. The old name had been removed, and a crew member was carefully painting the new one, Phi NEX. "They think we're just making a mess," Tom said to no one in particular. "They don't understand that this is what humans do best. We take pieces that don't fit together and make something new." He touched the freshly painted name, careful not to smudge it. "We're not just rebuilding a ship," he whispered. "We're making history." Behind him, the sounds of construction continued late into the night. The Phoenix was taking shape piece by mismatched piece, becoming something the Galactic Council never intended: a ship with a human heart. The Phoenix cut through space on its first official patrol, 3 days ahead of the Council's deadline. From the outside, it still looked like a patched-together transport vessel, its hull a mismatched collection of metals and components. But inside it hummed with efficiency and purpose. Captain Tom sat in the command chair on the bridge, watching his crew work with pride. They had done the impossible, turned scrap into a functioning starship with capabilities no one would suspect. "Status report." He called out. "All systems running smoothly," Captain reported. "Mike, from the engineering station power core, operating at 110% of standard capacity. Shield doors ready on standby." Maria added. "From tactical weapon systems." "Well, what we're calling weapon systems are online." Tom smiled at that. They had no official weapons. The Council hadn't authorized any, but Maria had repurposed mining equipment, waste disposal units, and even the ship's old cargo magnetizers into something that could in a pinch serve as defense. "We're approaching Sector 7, Jack announced from navigation. "Standard patrol route. As assigned, Sector 7 was quiet space, a trading route far from any important Council worlds. It was busy enough with merchant traffic, but considered safe and routine, perfect for a test run of humanity's first official ship." Captain Wren called from communications. "I'm picking up a distress signal merchant vessel about half a light year from our position." Tom straightened in his chair. "Details, they're reporting an attack pirate." By the sound of it, Wren adjusted her equipment. "Council protocol says we should report it and wait for an authorized military vessel." The bridge fell silent as all eyes turned to Tom. They knew what Council protocol said. They also knew what humanity would do. How long would it take an authorized military vessel to reach them? Tom asked. Jack checked his instruments. "Nearest patrol is 3 hours away at maximum speed." "And how long would it take us?" 20 minutes, sir." Tom nodded. His decision made. "Set course for that merchant vessel, maximum speed." "Maria, prepare your non-weapons." Wren inform the Council of our response, sir." Maria said carefully. "If we engage pirates, we'll be violating at least 3 Council regulations. Then we better not get caught, Tom replied with a grim smile, or better. Yet we better succeed. The Phoenix changed course, its engines pushing harder than any standard council vessel of its class. Should be able to. Mike had worked wonders with the old power core, channeling its energy through human-designed systems that squeezed every drop of power from it. Coming up on the coordinates, Jack announced 15 minutes. Later, dropping out of FTL in 321. The view screen showed chaos. A bulky merchant ship was listing badly, its engines dark circling. It were three sleek predatory vessels, pirate ships known for hitting easy targets and disappearing before council forces could respond. They had already disabled the merchant's engines. Maria reported life support still functioning. But they're cutting into the cargo. Old Wren. Open a channel, Tom ordered. When she nodded, he spoke clearly. Attention, pirate vessels, this is Captain Tom Miller of the Earthship Phoenix. Cease your attack and withdraw immediately. A harsh laugh came over the comms. Earthship, the new pets of the council. The pirate's voice was translated through a basic system. The words choppy. Go away, little humans. This is not your business. I'm making it our business, Tom replied calmly. Last warning. The pirate didn't bother to respond. Instead, one of the ships broke off from the merchant vessel and turned toward the Phoenix weapons, charging. They're targeting us, Maria announced, tension in her voice. Energy weapons, powering up shield doors, Tom ordered. Maria activated her makeshift defense system, the cargo bay doors now charged with energy. Deflecting fields deployed strategically around the ship's vulnerable areas from the outside. It looked like the Phoenix was simply opening some compartments, nothing threatening. The pirate ship fired, confident in an easy kill. The energy beam struck one of the shield doors and scattered most of its force, dissipated harmlessly into space. Minimal damage, Mike reported, surprise in his voice. Maria, your shield doors actually worked. Don't sound so shocked, she replied, grinning. The pirate fired again, a more powerful shot. This time, the shield door absorbed most of the impact, but began to overeat. We can't take too many of those, Maria warned. Tom nodded. Then let us not give them the chance. Mike, vent atmosphere from port side chambers. Control bursts, Sir Mike questioned. Then understanding dawned. Oh yes, Sir Mike. Activated the emergency venting system that humans had installed. Carefully calculated bursts of air shock from the Phoenixes side the force, pushing the ship into a spin that no proper council vessel would ever perform. The pirates' next shot missed entirely, its targeting computers unable to predict the unorthodox movement. Now, Maria, Tom ordered as they spun toward the pirate ship. Show them our mining equipment. Maria activated what had once been a standard mining laser, used for breaking down asteroids. The humans had modified it, focusing its beam to a much narrower point. It wasn't designed as a weapon officially, but when the beam struck the pirate ship's engine housing, it cut through the metal like it was paper. The pirate ship lurched its engines, failing. The other two pirates, seeing their companion disabled, broke off their attack on the merchant vessel and moved to engage the Phoenix. They coordinating, Maria warned, coming at us from both sides. Perfect, Tom said, surprising his crew. Jack, full stop. Mike, prepare for full emergency vent all chambers, sir. That'll drain our atmosphere reserves, Mike cautioned. We'll refill them on my mark. Now the Phoenix suddenly vented atmosphere from all sides at once, creating a pressurized bubble that rippled outward. The pirate ships, closing in fast, flew right into it. Their sleek designs, built for speed and predatory attacks, were thrown off course by the unexpected space disturbance. Maria cargo magnetizers, full power. Maria activated the modified cargo systems, originally designed to help load heavy metal containers. The humans had turned them into powerful magnetic projectors. The beams locked onto the metal hulls of the pirate ships, pulling them toward each other. Before they could compensate, the two vessels collided with a silent crash that sent debris floating across the view screen. All three pirate ships disabled, Maria reported, her voice filled with disbelief at their own success. Tom stood up from his chair. Wren, contact the merchant vessel, see if they need medical assistance. Then inform the council that we've responded to a distress call and require cleanup of 3 discipled pirate ships. As the crew carried out his orders, a sense of stunned silence filled the bridge, soon replaced by growing excitement. We did it, Jack said quietly. We actually did it, Tom nodded, allowing himself a small smile. Yes, we did. And with a ship made of scrap, 3 hours later, when the council military vessels finally arrived, they found the Phoenix helping repair the merchant ship's engines. The pirates were contained, their ships disabled, But intact for evidence, the Council commander, a stern reptilian being, was clearly confused by what he found. You engaged 3 pirate vessels. With that, he asked Tom, pointing at the Phoenix with one clawed hand. We responded to a distress call. Tom answered simply, as any Council vessel should. The commander studied the mismatched ship and its human crew with new eyes. The Council will want a full report on how this happened. Of course, Tom said, though I should warn you, some of our methods might be considered unconventional, as the military vessels took charge of the pirates, and the Phoenix prepared to continue its patrol. Tom gathered his crew on the bridge today. We showed the galaxy something important. He told them quietly, not that humans can fight, any species can fight. We showed them that we can think differently, see solutions. Where others see only junk. He looked around at their proud faces. They gave us scrap. We made it fly. They'll remember that what none of them knew was how quickly word would spread through the merchant lanes and trading posts, stories of the odd human ship that fought like no other vessel in the galaxy. The story of the Phoenix had just begun. 2 months after the pirate incident, the Phoenix had developed quite a reputation. What started as whispers among merchant crews had grown into stories told in spaceboards across 3 sectors. Some tales were exaggerated. No, the ship couldn't turn invisible, and it definitely couldn't split into 2 separate vessels. But the core truth remained: the human scrap ship was surprisingly effective. The Council, of course, was less impressed. Captain Tom had been called to explain his reckless actions 3 separate times. Each time, he patiently pointed out that he had simply responded to a distress call, as any responsible Council vessel should. They can't decide if they should punish us or study us, Tom told his crew one evening as they gathered in what they now called the garden, the expanded plant room that had become their unofficial meeting space. Mike laughed. They sent 2 engineers last week to inspect our power core modifications. They spent 3 hours taking notes, and that military attaché who wanted to see our weapon systems, Maria, added his face when I showed him our modified mining equipment was priceless. The crew's laughter was interrupted by Wren's voice over the ship's comm. Captain, to the bridge, priority message coming in from Council Command. Tom exchanged glances with his officers' duty calls. When they reached the bridge, Wren was at her station, her expression serious. It's a general broadcast to all vessels, sir. But it's coded urgent on screen. Tom ordered. The view screen flickered to life, showing a stern-faced Council admiral, a foreign species with rigged skin and sharp features. Attention all Council vessels. This is Admiral Cord with an emergency directive. The Drar Collective has launched a surprise attack on the Century trade route. All available ships are ordered to report to Sector 12. To form a defense line, the crew exchanged shocked glances. The Drar were a secretive species from the Outer Rim known for their advanced technology and isolationist policies. They weren't officially enemies of the Council, but relations had always been tense. The Drar fleet consists of approximately 30 vessels of unknown configuration. The Admiral continued. They have already disabled 3 Council outposts and have established a block of preventing supply ships from reaching the outer colonies. This is a Level 1 emergency. All available ships report to these coordinates. Admiral Corv out. The message ended, replaced by a set of coordinates flashing on the screen. The Century trade route, Jack said quietly. That's the main supply line to 17 colonies. Tom nodded, his expression grim. Wren acknowledged the order and informed Council Command. We're en route. Jack set course for those coordinates, maximum speed. Sir Maria spoke up. We're not a warship. We'll be facing actual military vessels. We're a Council ship responding to a Council emergency. Tom replied firmly, just like with the pirates, but on a larger scale. The pirates were one thing, Mike said, but the Drar, they're supposed to be decades ahead of everyone technologically. Tom stood up, looking at each crew member in turn. Then they won't be expecting what we bring to the fight. We've spent 2 months improving this ship, adding systems no one else has thought of combining. We might not be the strongest ship in the fleet, but we're definitely the most surprising. His confidence was infectious, and the crew turned to their stations with renewed purpose. Jack, how long? Reach Sector 12, Tom asked. 18 hours at maximum safe speed, sir. Make it 15, Tom said. Mike, I know you've been holding back some power and reserve time to see what this core can really do. Mike grinned. Yes, sir. I'll give you 15 hours. But I'll need to run some special cooling protocols. Do whatever you need to. Maria, I want you to run combat simulations with every modification we've made. Find new ways to use what we have already. Thinking of a few ideas, Captain, she replied. The Phoenix pushed through space faster than it had ever gone before, the old ship's frame creaking under the strain. but the human reinforcements held, and the modified power core performed flawlessly under Mike's careful management. 15 hours later, they dropped out of FTL at the designated coordinates. The scene that greeted them was organized chaos. Nearly 100 council ships of various sizes had formed a defensive line facing a distant cluster of dark angular vessels. The Drar fleet were being hailed. Ren announced, "It's the command ship." Admiral Kor's face appeared on screen. His rigged features showed surprise when he saw the human Captain Earth vessel. "Phoenix," he said, "I was not expecting your type of ship in this response fleet. We received the same call as everyone else." Admiral Tom replied respectfully. "The Phoenix is reporting for duty." The Admiral seemed to struggle with this for a moment, then nodded curtly. "Very well, take position in the Tertiary Response Group Section D. Those are support vessels and medical ships. You'll be safely behind the main battle line." Tom frowned. "With respect, Admiral, we've proven effective in combat situations against pirates." "Captain Miller, this is a military engagement against a technologically superior enemy. Your creative modifications will not be relevant here. Take your assigned position." Korv out. As the transmission ended, Tom turned to his crew. They looked disappointed, but not surprised. "Well," Maria said, "at least we'll have a good view of the battle." Tom sat in his chair thinking. Then he turned to Ren. "Open a channel to all council ships." Sir Ren looked confused. "I don't have authority to broadcast fleet-wide." "Then find a way." Tom insisted. "This is important." Ren worked at her console for a few moments. "I can piggyback on the fleet's tactical update frequency. It's not quite fleet-wide, but most combat vessels will receive it." "Do it." When she nodded, Tom spoke clearly and confidently. "This is Captain Tom Miller of the Earth ship Phoenix. We've analyzed the Drar vessels, and we've detected a potential weakness in their configuration. Request permission to approach and gather more detailed scans." There was a moment of silence. Then Admiral Korb's angry voice came through. "Captain Miller, get off this channel immediately. You have no authority to." Admiral Tom interrupted. "With respect, humans have a unique perspective that might help here. The Drar ships are arranged in a standard defense pattern, but their energy signatures suggest they're using the synchronized shield system. If that's true, there might be a way to disrupt it." A new voice joined the channel. "This is Captain Lauren of the Steadfast. What kind of disruption are you suggesting?" "Human." Before Korv could object again, Tom continued quickly. "The synchronized shields will have a resonance frequency if we can identify it and broadcast a counter frequency. We might be able to create temporary gaps in their defenses." There was a thoughtful silence. Then Captain Lauren spoke again. "Admiral, the humans' theory is sound. The Drar are known for their synchronized systems." Admiral Korv growled in frustration. "Fine, Captain Miller, you have 10 minutes to approach and scan. But at the first sign of danger, you will retreat immediately. Is that clear?" "Perfectly clear." Admiral Phoenix out. Tom turned to his crew with a determined smile. "Jack, take us forward. Slow approach. Ren, prepare all sensors for detailed scans. Maria, be ready with those shield doors." As the Phoenix moved ahead of the Council defense line, Tom leaned forward in his chair. "They put us in the back because they think we're just scrap," he said quietly. "Time to show them what scrap can do." The mismatched ship moved steadily toward the intimidating Drar fleet, looking like a civilian transport that had taken a wrong turn into a military standoff. But inside, the crew of the Phoenix was ready to face their greatest challenge yet, and perhaps change the course of an interstellar war. The Phoenix drifted closer to the Drar fleet, looking harmless and insignificant against the backdrop of the imposing enemy warships. These alien vessels were unlike anything the humans had seen before. Sleek, angular, and completely black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Each ship was nearly identical, moving in perfect coordination, like parts of a single organism. "Keep us on a lazy approach vector," Tom instructed. "Jack, like we're just a curious transport that doesn't know any better." "They're scanning us," Captain Wren reported from her station. "Standard identification. Sweep. Let them look." Tom replied calmly. "All they'll see is a patch together ship. That isn't worth their attention." The Phoenix continued its casual approach behind them. The Council fleet waited in tense formation, many captains questioning the wisdom of letting the human vessel take point. Captain Wren said suddenly, "I'm detecting unusual energy patterns between the Drar ships. They're pulsing in sequence like they're talking to each other." Tom leaned forward. "Can you isolate the frequency?" Wren's fingers flew over her console, working on it. "It's complex, not like any communication system I've seen before, Sir Maria." Interrupted from tactical, I think they've noticed us. Two smaller vessels are breaking formation. Tom nodded, Mike ready on power core adjustments. Maria shield doors on standby. But don't deploy. Yet we don't want to look threatening. The two Drar ships moved with graceful precision, approaching the Phoenix from both sides. They're charging weapons. Maria warned, tension in her voice. Hold steady, Tom ordered Ren. What do you have? I've isolated the pattern. She replied excitedly, it's not just communication, it's their shield. Synchronization, each ship is generating only part of a larger shield bubble. Together they create an overlapping defense that's much stronger than individual shields. Exactly what we suspected, Tom said. Can we disrupt it? Maybe. Ren said, her hand still working. If we broadcast a counter frequency. She was cut off as the two Drar ships fired their weapons, sending bright purple energy beams toward the Phoenix shield doors. Now Tom ordered Maria activated their makeshift defense system. But even with the modified doors in place, the impact rocked the ship violently, damaged to sections 3 and 5. Mike reported door shields held, but they're already overheating. We can't take many more hits like that. Tom made a quick decision. Time to show our hand. Jack evasive maneuvers. The garbage chose special Jack grind and input a series of commands. The Phoenix suddenly began tumbling in a seemingly uncontrolled spin-venting atmosphere in carefully timed bursts that scented kenning between the two Drar vessels. The N ships tried to track them, but the erratic movement pattern, one that would make any proper military pilot sick, confused their targeting. Systems. Ren broadcast that counter frequency now. Full power, Tom called out over the noise of straining metal, broadcasting on all channels. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like ripples spreading across water, visible disruptions appeared across the energy fields, connecting the Drar ship. It's working, Ren exclaimed. Their shield synchronization is faltering. Ton hit the ship wide. See all hands brace for impact. Then to Jack, take us straight through their line between those two cruisers. The Phoenix stopped its wild tumbling and shot forward, aiming for a gap. Drar formation, where the shield disruption was strongest, sir. If their shields come back online while we're passing through, Maria warned. They won't, Tom said with confidence. He didn't entirely feel Mike. Divert all power to engines and Ren broadcast. Maria, be ready with everything we've got once we're through. The Phoenix accelerated, its mismatched hull creaking under the strain. The gap between the Drar ships loomed ahead, a space that would normally be protected by their synchronized shields. Counter frequency still holding. Ren reported shield disruption at 67%. Drar vessels trying to adjust. Maria added their firing again. Energy beams lanced out from multiple ships, but the Phoenix was moving too quickly now, and the disrupted coordination between tracker vessels made their shots uncharacteristically inaccurate. 5 seconds to gap. Jack called out 4, 3, 2, 1. The Phoenix shot through the opening in the Drar line, emerging on the other side of their formation. For a split second, there was silence on the bridge as everyone realized they'd made it through. We did it, Jack shouted. Not yet, Tom said, his eyes fixed on the view screen. Ren, open a channel to the Council fleet. Maria, deploy all mining lasers and prepare the cargo magnetizers. Channel open. Ren confirmed. Admiral Corv, this is the Phoenix. Tom announced, we've successfully disrupted the Drar shield synchronization. Their rear is exposed. Attack now. Without waiting for a response, Tom turned to Maria. Target their command ship. Full power to all our non-weapons. The Drar were scrambling to reform their perfectly coordinated defense, but the disruption had thrown their systems into disarray. The Phoenix fired its HFY mining lasers at the largest enemy vessel, the concentrated beams cutting through the now unprotected hull. At the same time, the Council fleet responded to Tom's call. Dozens of warships charging forward to exploit the weakness the humans had created. It's working, Maria said in wonder. The Council ships are breaking through the battle, transformed in minutes without their synchronized shields. The Drar lost their greatest advantage. Their perfect for dissolved into chaos as they tried to defend against attacks from both the Phoenix at their rear and the Council fleet at their front. Drar vessels are powering up their engines. Ren reported they're preparing to retreat. Not all of them. Maria warned, 3 ships on intercept course with us. Tom nodded calmly. They figured out. We're the source of the disruption. Mike, how much more can you give the broadcast? We're already redlining, Captain. Mike replied, his hands dancing across his controls core. Temperature rising. Dangerously. Push it further, Tom ordered. Ren, modulate the frequency. Make it harder for them to adapt. Jack, evasive pattern, Delta. The Phoenix spun away from the approaching Drar ships, still broadcasting the shield disrupting signal at maximum power. The three enemy vessels pursued, firing repeatedly. Hull breach in Section 8. Mike called out, ceiling now, shield door is failing on starboard side. Maria added the situation was growing desperate when Admiral Corb's voice came through the comm. Earth vessel Phoenix, break off your attack. Council reinforcements incoming. True. His word. 5 Council warships appeared, placing themselves between the Phoenix and the pursuing Drar vessels. This is your chance to withdraw, Captain Miller. Corv said, his tone still stern, but with a new note of respect. You've done enough. Tom looked at his crew, exhausted, some bleeding from minor injuries, but all still at their posts. Thank you, Admiral. Phoenix withdrawing, he turned to Jack. Get us to a safe distance. As they pulled away, the view screen showed the Drar fleet in full retreat, with Council ships in pursuit. What had seemed like an unwinnable battle just hours ago had turned in their favor in the aftermath, as emergency repairs were underway. Admiral Corv himself came aboard the Phoenix. He walked through the ship with obvious curiosity, studying the jury-rigged systems and makeshift modifications. I must admit, Captain Miller, he said finally, when I first saw this vessel, I thought it was an insult to include it in a military operation. Tom smiled slightly. Many have underestimated us, Admiral. A mistake I won't make again. Corv replied, the Council will receive my full report on how your unconventional tactics turned the tide of this battle. After the Admiral left, Tom gathered his crew in the garden. The plants had been damaged in the fight, but like everything else on the Phoenix, they were already being repaired and would grow back stronger today. We proved something important, Tom told his weary but proud crew, not just to the Council or the Drar, but to ourselves. He touched a damaged panel, feeling the worn metal beneath his fingers. They gave us scrap, he said softly, and told us it was all we deserved, but we didn't just make it work, we made it extraordinary. We made it human. Maria raised an improvised cup of Mike's engine room brew to the Phoenix. She said, the most dangerous scrap heap in the galaxy to the Phoenix. They all echoed, their voices filling the garden as their celebration continued. News was already spreading throughout Council space, tales of the odd human ship that looked like junk, but fought like nothing ever seen before. A ship that had faced the mighty Drar and emerged victorious. They had been given scrap, they had built a legend, and the galaxy would never be the same.